If everybody can please find a seat so we could get started. Can we please find our seats so we can get started? Okay. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Publics Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision 118, and Verizon Vios Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, March 19th, 2019. The Board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Mara, please.
The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recordings to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
DeCaro?
Here.
DePrima?
Yeah, here.
Dunn?
Here.
Ellis Foster? Lent? Reed? Singh? Sulikowski? Callie?
Here. Thank you. Can we please rise for the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all. If you can please remain standing. I'd like to have a moment of silence in memoriam. Move the board to acknowledge the death of Krista Lynn Burstein, a 2010 Old Bridge High School graduate, and Gregory Gleason, former teacher and coach of Cedar Ridge High School, and the board expresses its deepest sympathy to their family and friends. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, we're going to start with our Code of Ethics Corner, highlight of the month, and I believe it's Mrs. DeCaro.
Uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought about only through legal and ethical procedures.
Thank you, Mrs. DeCaro. Okay, there is an addendum to the agenda in your packet. I need a motion to accept the addendum.
DeCaro, a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. DeCaro. Second? Thank you. Roll call, please.
DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ellis Foster? Lent? Reed? Singh? Sulikowski? Callie?
Yes.
The motion to add the addendum is approved.
Okay, I need a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Dunn will make a motion to approve the minutes, Madam President.
roll call, please.
This is on the approval of minutes. DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Lent?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Singh?
Yes.
Silikowski?
Yes.
Callie?
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Thank you. We're going to move on to report of, is Dylan here? Dylan is not here. Okay. So we'll skip over that. And Mr. Cittadino, I believe we have some recognition.
Yes, there are several items of recognition this evening. First, motion is to move the Board of Education to recognize Audrey Baker. She's our District Nurse Coordinator, Old Bridge High School nurse, for being awarded the School Nurse Administrator of the Year from the State of New Jersey State Health Nurse Association. Ms. Hicks is the supervisor that oversees nursing, so she will say a few kind words about Ms. Baker, and thank you, Ms. Baker, for all you do to make our students' health and our staff's health the greatest priority.
Audrey Baker's nomination came from a wealth of teamwork from the district nurses. There were multiple pieces to bring this nomination forward to the New Jersey School Nurses Association. Letters of recommendation, resume, narrative by her peers about her leadership and persona, a bulleted list of standards in which Audrey over the years has accomplished, from nursing practices to quality of practice, professional practice, education, collegiality, collaboration, ethics, professional performance, resource utilization, leadership, and advocacy. Under each one of the standards that I just stated were at least 4 or 5 bulleted items Audrey had led our district and our nursing staff to accomplish. Audrey's passion and modesty and effervescence, as described by her peers, has won her this nomination of School Nurse Administrator of the Year. On a personal note, Audrey's leadership has helped myself, as well as previous curriculum supervisors, navigate the many facets of school nursing. Audrey, the narrative written by your peers says it all about why you are so deserving of this nomination. Congratulations.
Yes. Okay. Move the Board of Education to congratulate the following Old Bridge Education Foundation mini grant recipients. At this time, can I have Dr. Scott Cascone, who oversees the Ed Foundation, and any team members that you want to bring up with you, go to the dais as we congratulate Jennifer Gironda. She's the school nurse at Cooper School. David Buist, who's the Old Bridge High School teacher. Stephen Pasqua, automotive teacher at Old Bridge High School. Karen Yeats, a teacher at Madison Park School. Dion Phillips, Linda Carrington, Audrey Kringle, and Alexandria Rune, Memorial School, and Brianna Fontana, Glen School.
Just a few quick words. Good evening. It's my honor and privilege as the Executive Director of the Old Bridge Education Foundation to present these outstanding educators with their mini grants tonight. As you know, we've been slowly rebuilding the OBEF, and while we are still moving forward in a positive direction and we're building slowly, it's with great pride that we're able to offer these grants. Thank you to all the staff members who submitted. We had 21 submissions, a lot of excellent initiatives. Unfortunately, we were only able to fund 6 of them, and those folks are being recognized tonight. This time of all times is a time where any way we can kind of give back and contribute back into the classroom. And I think what stands out most about these particular initiatives is that their ability to be potentially replicated elsewhere in the district and become kind of more of a standard practice district-wide, which is really a key part of awarding them. So without further introduction, I would like to call the following staff members up one by one to be recognized. First is Jennifer Gironda, school nurse, Cooper School. And I don't want to spend too much time. I know we have a lot on the agenda tonight. Mr. Ronda, this grant will go to a pilot utilizing a translation service that has the potential to really equip the district with the capacity to offer a lot of translation services to the many different languages that are spoken in our families' homes. The next is David Bust from the high school, science teacher from the high school. Bust, congratulations. I know that Mr. Bust could explain it much better than I. However, his is going to the purchase of a thermal camera for utilization in the chemistry lab, which will really expand upon how our students can experiment in the classroom. The next is Mr. Pasqua, Mr. Steve Pasqua, and Mr. Ken Colavito come up as well, as they are a tandem, dynamic duo down in the automotive technology program, do an amazing job down there. Also very technical, but this particular grant will go to fund a piece of equipment that'll really expand upon the training they can provide to our young mechanics. The next recipient is Carrie Neitz from Madison Park School. Karen's initiative is one of the many exciting things that are going on in our district to in our STEM and STEAM practice, and we're excited about the things that are going to come out of Madison Park. So congratulations. We have a team coming out of Memorial School, and that's Dion Phillips, Linda Carrington, Audrey Serangle, and Alexandra Roon. If you'll come on up. And their grant is going to purchase kind of like supercharged Kindles, so to speak, that are going to enable them to record audio and audio books that they'll be able to use in the intervention program down there. So we look forward to seeing what comes out of their work. And oops. Oh, a minute. And finally, you know, kind of keeping with the idea of really offering our grants to the full range of our learners, this last grant is coming to us from our preschool, from Glen School, and that's Ms. Brianna Fontana. And her grant is really going to implementation and research of practice to work on communication skills and social communication techniques with some of our youngest learners down there. So really excited to see the developments that come out. So once again, congratulations to all our winners. And don't forget to come on out and support the OBF when you can. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cascone. Okay, may I have a motion to move recognition, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you.
Lent will second.
Any discussion?
Madam President, I'd like to say one thing, please.
Sure.
As chairman of the Health Services, Medical Services Committee, I can attest to Nurse Baker's award. I've been chairing this committee a long time, and she is very worthy of it. She takes care of your children, she takes care of our staff, and I just want to say congratulations and thank you.
Anybody else?
I'd also like to say thank you to the OBEF for all of your efforts in fundraising and providing those grants. Much needed. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I just wanted to take a second to congratulate all the grant recipients and to echo Mrs. DeCaro in thanking the OBEF for their hard work in raising money. And to Mrs. Baker, definitely an honor well deserved. As a board member, I applaud your efforts. As a parent of former students in Old Bridge High School, who you probably saw more times than you can count, thank you. I'm sure I speak for everybody when I thank you very much for all your efforts. Okay, roll call, please.
DePrima. Dunn.
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Lent.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Singh.
Yes.
Silikowski.
Yes.
DeCaro.
Yes.
Callie.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 pass.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to superintendent's report. Mr. Cittadino.
Thank you, Madam President. The Old Bridge Township Public Schools is in a far different place than it was when we last met as a board and public in February. Shortly after attending the Governor's State Budget Address on March 5th, 2019, we all learned that Old Bridge Township Public Schools was further reduced in state aid than the figures originally forecast by state organizations, to the tune of an additional $400,000. To date, Old Bridge has lost approximately $3 million in state aid over the past 2 years. Additionally, the predicted total of $12 million in lost state aid has grown to $15 million without a reliable indicator as to why. In the past few months, the only thing that has remained consistent is the mystery of the state funding formula. Legislators, Department of Education officials, and auditors have all agreed that there's no way to predict the impact of the formula, nor is there a way to plan for a significant reduction in state aid. When my team recently met with State President Steve Sweeney and his fiscal team, and Senator Thompson and Assemblyman Dancers in Clifton, we discussed bills to address our community's desperate needs. One request was to publicly release the multipliers in the state aid funding formula. I demonstrated that Old Bridge lost 100 students in the previous year, and somehow that equated to an additional $3 million in reduced state aid over 5 years. That's a loss of $30 grand per student in state aid. I pointed out that number and that many surrounding districts had similar drops of enrollment but gained more state aid. I was then pointed to the real estate and resident salary multipliers, all data we have no access to nor control over. I asked, how can we plan for a budget with factors we cannot see? The answer was that Old Bridge Township Schools, when analyzed, operates at 100% administrative efficiency with the funds you are provided. However, to the state's measurement, the Old Bridge public has historically only funded the schools at 86% capacity through local taxes. Their quote, as a state, we need all districts to operate 100% efficiently, but also have 100% local tax responsibility. Mr. Sweeney was very understanding to the Old Bridge dilemma. The legislators called us the unintentional consequences of trying to fix an out-of-date formula. They also unanimously pledged their support. The Senate President gave his word he would attempt to pass measures allowing the community to address the reducing state aid and a growing gap between local state revenue of $102 million and a local fair share number of $119 million. Without such bills restoring bank cap and increasing the 2% tax levy, Old Bridge will never close the $17 million gap. When we introduced the Climb, our shared vision, to the Old Bridge team in September, we said it was not going to be easy. We talked about working together and making sacrifices to overcome tough obstacles in our way. We recalled that this was always harder to climb the smooth side of a mountain. We recalled that it was easier to pull ourselves up, and said we did this when things get tough. It wasn't easy, but we did this together. Back then, we were faced with Old Bridge memes on social media, and life seemed simpler. Eventually, the humidity broke and the rain stopped long enough to dig in and overcome that challenge. Over the last several months, my team has, and with the support of the board, has crunched numbers and slashed expense lines to reduce the impact of a $7 million shortfall due to reduced state aid, increased fixed costs, and contractual obligations. The additional $400,000 this month did not help. Every classroom and office may have gotten things done with a little less this year, that's for certain. My goal, our goal, and the goal of this board has been to maintain district programs without doing harm to children. There's a motion on the agenda tonight asking County Superintendent Kyle Anderson to authorize the closing of Chesapeake School. This is a worst-case scenario timeline formality that no one wants to see come to fruition. Its existence does not alone close the school. We hope it is not needed. After all of these cuts and expenses, trying to save every position with every retirement and every employee and every school by any means necessary, we are still millions away. Not a person on this stage wants to close a school or outsource a paraprofessional. However, any more cuts to the 2019-2020 budget would violate the goals of this board and/or open up this district to serious liabilities. I am asking the board president to do one more thing. I'm in the middle of a 5-year contract that was approved by the county superintendent in September of 2017. My contract comes with a maximum 2% salary increase as allowed by law. I'm requesting, Madam President, that you direct the board's attorney to review my salary obligations for the 1920 school year and introduce guidelines that will freeze my income to the 2018-19 figures. I have also volunteered to place myself in the State Healthcare Direct Zero Plan as developed and endorsed by the NJEA. The Zero Plan comes with the same in-network doctors, and we have a remarkable zero out-of-pocket copay, a luxury I'm sure not lost on many members of the public. Members of my cabinet have also volunteered to do the same. We will freeze and zero. A district-wide enrollment in the Zero Plan would save the district millions of dollars and benefit programs and classrooms across our 44 square miles. Benefiting children in classrooms, isn't that what our shared priority is? In doing so, I hope we will inspire others to assess their own situation. I know that everyone has and needs varying thresholds of income and health care. I know, having 2 sons leaving for college next year, any income will be missed. However, I also know many people in this audience. They are all not only professional colleagues, but friends whose homes I've broken bread in, friends who I've watched their children and grandchildren grow up and go on vacation with, friends who have been to my home and played on numerous recreational teams with me, friends who have packed buses to go see unknown number of Yankee games, and maybe one Met game because she has great seats. You are the people in this audience who know me, and you know I do not want to close any elementary school. Now, I do not want to outsource any of our dedicated professionals. I also know in my heart that each of you would do the same to keep our schools open and our friends at home working here in Old Bridge schools. Senate President Sweeney was confident that he can get us legislation passed, bringing us fiscal relief in 2020-2021. Let's see if that's true. We have investigated the math. If the majority of our team agrees to a 1-year freeze in salary and a year in the District Zero healthcare plan, we will save many non-tenured staff positions. We will be able to keep Chesapeake School open. We will be able to put an end to this talk of outsourcing of paraprofessionals. One year, that's all I'm asking. If the legislation does not come, we can revisit this or both of these avenues later. It's a risk I'm willing to take because I know this for sure. If we close a school, it's not coming back. And if we say goodbye, it's hard to come back home. Thank you, and let's keep climbing. To that end, I will be meeting with senators and assemblymen tomorrow and Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Citadino. I know you moved quite a few people. I can't see very far, but no, I see a lot of, not moving out of the way, I see a lot of tears. But thank you on behalf of the board. Mr. Mara, do we have any correspondence? No correspondence. Okay, I'm going to move on to special committee reports. I believe Ms. Ellis Foster has a technology report.
I do. It's kind of a hard one to follow, but I will try. But actually, as chair of the Technology Committee, I am just always amazed when I attend the meetings to find out what is happening in our classroom and the technology that is being used, and how it's not only improving the students, but more so engaging them and helping them learn better. So I just want to highlight a few of the things that we went over in the committee. Next month, we'll be doing our testing, the New Jersey State Learning Assessment Test, kind of the replacement of PARCC. The testing is going great, everything is working. And the amazing thing of that is, I don't know if you remember back to when we started several years ago with PARCC, the testing was 30 days? Over 30 days throughout the district. It was crazy. And so now we are down at the high school and GNC down to only a total of 3 days. Across the two elementary schools, it's only 8 days. And across all of the the middle schools, it's 8 days, and the elementary schools, 9 days. So, just taking less time to accomplish that. So kudos to everybody involved in that, and the technicians who get everything set up, and the staff, and everybody who does the testing. We went over, talked a little bit about our Future Ready schools. Memorial has already achieved its bronze, and this year they're applying for their silver status. So it's a great thing. McDivitt's, Sharam, and Millers are applying for their bronze status. There's a great playbook that was put together to help everybody go through that. And really our goal is to ultimately have all of the elementaries be Future Ready schools. We had our first Digital Learning Day. And if you don't follow Mr. Titmus on Instagram, you get on, you can find out all the great things that are going on in all the classrooms, but it was a great way to showcase how everybody's using technology. One other thing we talked about is the great collaboration for our education for our professionals, which is the Old Bridge PBLA, which is the Old Bridge Professional Learning Academy, which is really educators learning from each other, which is the best way to do it, that they can observe, see some of the great things going on in another teacher's classroom, get to know about it, and then go and sit with Mr. Yanazelli or Mr. Titmus to find out how they can implement that in their own classroom. So a really great peer learning, which is free. So we know we like that. In addition, testing going on is the WIDA access testing, which is under the direction of Ms. Keeler, which is the World-Class Instructional Design Assessment, which is used for ESL students. So that is going to be continuing from February through May. And we also got an insight into another software that's free, which is called Vion, which is Virtual Eye on Network, which is a way that teachers can actually look in and a student's screen. First of all, make sure they're not kind of going out seeing things they shouldn't be seeing, but then also help and share with them real time as they're learning, whether push information out, share on a screen, see if they're struggling and be able to help them real time. And then the other one quick thing we talked about is the technology plan, which right now the state is not requiring. However, we don't always have the greatest confidence in the state. So Mrs. Moran and her team are putting together a technology plan, so we will be ready in case it is asked. So it was a great meeting, great to understand what's going on, and that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. I know the curriculum meeting was postponed for February, and Mr. Silikowski, the next curriculum meeting is March 27th?
March 27th, Wednesday. Hopefully we can get a big crowd there, just like today.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
We might be out in the parking lot, but okay. Okay, are there any other committee reports? Okay, yes, Ms. Lent.
The Negotiations Committee does have an update, but I would like Mr. Parton just to explain a few details about it, and then, if possible, I would like to just comment a little further after he does.
Ms. Parton?
Thank you. Following up on what Mr. Cittadino said, this is obviously a horrible situation that this district is in. It's worse than 2010, and 2010 was bad. So there are some facts that the public and that the employees are entitled to know, and I've been asked by the board and administration to convey these facts, which I will do now. So the Old Bridge Board of Ed and the OBEA are in negotiations for a new contract for 2019-20 and beyond. Negotiations began with the exchange of proposals back in November, and in late January, the parties mutually agreed that we were at an impasse, and the state agency called PERC, the Public Employment Relations Commission that oversees negotiations, also acknowledged that these negotiations are at an impasse. Under the parties' ground rules, which we signed off on for these negotiations, particularly Ground Rule 11, that means that the parties are now permitted to publicly disclose proposals and discussions. This is important now because the board's proposals were and are geared towards what Mr. Cittadino was talking about, geared towards being fiscally responsible and implementing contract changes which, while difficult, extremely difficult in some cases, would minimize staff reductions, would retain all programs, and keep all buildings open. That is the board's goal. Specifically, among its total of 12 proposals, the board included the following. Included board proposal number 2, which proposed to revise the base insurance plan for all current employees and new employees to the New Jersey School Education Employees Health Benefits Program Zero Copay Plan. It's the plan that Mr. Cittadino was talking about a moment ago, which is the one that he and his family are now in. It's endorsed by the NJEA and was created by the state during the summer of 2018. The board also proposed their proposal number 3 to provide single-only benefits for paraprofessionals, and board proposal 10, probably most notably, proposed a freeze of all salaries and steps for 3 years due to the fiscal fiasco that we're dealing with. Again, these proposals were made and presented to the OBEA in negotiations only as a result of the dramatic reduction in state aid to the district and the need to contain costs. Acceptance of the board proposals listed would have provided sufficient savings to avoid all outsourcing, to minimize staff reductions, and to keep all buildings open. The OBEA, within its rights, was unable to agree to these proposals. The OBEA made 40 proposals of its own, including proposals on the 2 central issues of health insurance and salaries. On health insurance, OBEA proposal number 12 would keep all health insurance plans the same as they are now, and would also reduce employee contributions would reduce employee contributions from the current Chapter 78 matrix based upon premiums to a flat 1.5% of base salary, which would be great for a lot of employees. However, it would cost the school district an estimated $3.4 million per year. On salaries, OBEA proposals 31 and 32 propose yearly salary increases of 3%, in addition to increases in longevity payment for staff in all categories. Based on the base year salary listings signed off by the parties on January 17th, the OBEA's salary proposals would cost the district an additional $2.2 to $2.3 million in each year of the contract. The board remains hopeful that with the assistance of the state mediator who has been assigned and through the PERC process, a new contract can be reached. However, both parties must agree to whatever terms the new contract contains, and each party has the absolute legal right to say no to any of the other parties' proposals. Until there is a negotiated agreement, this board can build a 2019-2020 budget assuming no increases in salary, but it cannot build a budget that changes health insurance or reduces them at all. That's a negotiations item. The district must present a balanced budget for 2019-20 as it must every year, where costs do not exceed revenue. Given that the final budget must be submitted to the state in a matter of weeks, and that revenue is down millions of dollars due to the enormous and unfair reduction in state aid that this district is facing, the board and the administration must look to cost savings measures that it can implement legally and can implement soon, effective for the beginning of the 1920 school year. This is why, and this is the only reason why, that the very unattractive options of closing Cheesequake School or outsourcing any services are even being considered. the board has asked for everybody to be aware of that, because this is not something, as Mr. Cittadino said, that anyone at this table wants to see happen. This is something that's being considered because a balanced budget is required by state law. Thank you, Ms. Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Parton. Just to expand a drop on what he just spoke about, not one member up here wants to close a school. Every single member up here can agree the paraprofessionals are valued. We love you guys. You guys work hard, and we give you a lot of kudos for what you do. And every single program that's in our school system is important. It's important to someone. But unfortunately, when we have no money, something has to give. So we went to negotiations in an attempt, and I know it's not attractive to some people, but to freeze pay raises, to go to the zero plan. This will eliminate the entire discussion on closing the schools and outsourcing the paras. We have brought a legitimate proposal to the table that could solve all our problems right now. It was rejected. And I understand it's not favorable amongst everyone. Everyone would like a raise. I get that. But when there is no money, it can't happen. Something has to give. So we ask all of you to work together. I think it's better that we get a little less this year, everyone gets a little less, but everyone gets something. Up here, the board, our number one priority is the students, the children. And we try very hard. We're all volunteers. We spend a lot of hours putting our time and effort into solving this problem. And we know everyone is suffering and everyone is confused and everyone wants answers. This is the answer. This could help us right now. So if the board wants to negotiate, if the OBA wants to go back to negotiations, we can work with you. We could solve the problem. The ball is in their court right now. But it needs everyone to help and to pitch in. It can't be one group. It could be everyone. But if we don't solve those negotiations, we will be forced to cut something. We will be forced to close a school. We will be forced to outsource the paras. We will be forced to close programs. None of those we want to do. So if you have solutions, legitimate solutions that could help us close this $1 million budget, we're open to hear it. The ball is in your court, Mr. O'Neill. Like I said, if you have legitimate solutions, please bring it to us. We're open to hear solutions. That's it.
Okay.
Madam President?
I just want to say one thing, just,
Go ahead.
and I know there was like a very, just, no one would enjoy a 3% freeze. Let's get it, let's do it 1 year. Let's get 1 year done and see what happens with the law next year. If it changes, we're good. But if the end of the year, we're all here, if we get that 1 year done now, everyone in this room is not outsourced, school stays open. If the law doesn't come with us next year, we'll go back and revisit it. But let's see. Let's try to get this done now.
Madam President?
Mr. Dunn.
Yes. We have a very awesome responsibility up here. We have a school district to run. We have children to educate. We have employees we need to pay. And we need to come to a solution. Now, I'm in a very awkward position. My wife is an OBA member. She's a teacher. And I appreciate every OBA member in this room, from a teacher to a para to everyone that participates in making this district great. I have a lot of friends sitting here. Of the 650 so odd people who are here, I probably know 200 personally, based upon my wife being a member. And this is not very easy for us to come to some sort of solution, but I always believe in working together for the betterment of this district. I was the only board member that was on the board back in 2010 and 11 that worked tirelessly to get everything restored to what we promised when we reduced the benefits of the paras, and we promised as a board that we would bring them back, and we did. We're at crossroads, our educational enrichment for our children. Our children are the most precious gift that we have. And to echo what David Sedadino said, we need to work together. And a freeze and pay for my wife is difficult, reduction in health benefits is difficult, but we're willing to make that sacrifice for 1 year so that we can preserve the paraprofessionals and keep Cheese Squake School open. It's important that we work together, and I'm so heartened that everyone is here trying to find a solution, and everyone does care. This is an incredible community. We all work together, we live together, we love together, we cry together, and we need to support one another through this process. But the board needs to find the money. We need to make sure our educational enrichment is there for our children. So I'm asking, let's take Dave's suggestion, work together for 1 year to get this done so that we can preserve everyone's positions and move forward in the future. Thank you.
It may have been a slip of the tongue. We're not asking anyone to take a reduction, a freeze, and you'll find with the state health care plan, your contribution will go down, and your savings will be in, you don't pay a copay. I went into the plan with I took $2,000 out before taxes to help pay my copays. Now I have $1,000 sitting there I'm not using because I don't have copays anymore. So it's an amazing savings on one side of it. So you're actually, with a freeze, you see an increase in take-home money.
Madam President, may I?
Yes.
Please. First off, Mr. Cittadino, thank you. Thank you for your dedication and your generosity. I was not aware of what he said on a personal basis. What Mr. Cittadino, Mr. Parton, Ms. Lent, and now Mr. Dunn said, we don't want to outsource anybody. We don't want to close a school. I don't have, my wife is not a teacher as Mr. Dunn is, so he's a little more personal on this. But if you listen to what the 4 people before me said, this can be solved. It could be solved with no interruption to anybody's life or service. We just don't understand why people don't get that. Please listen to what they said, and this all goes away.
I'd like to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
So I have been trying to find the right words to speak about how I feel about this whole thing since this whole thing started. It's one of the most devastating things for me personally to have to be in this particular situation faced with these decisions. I was a para. I know exactly what you guys do. I did it for 2 years. I love you guys. You guys are the most underrated people I know. I know what you do. I do. And I think you're worth way more than what you get. I know how you feel about your kids. I still have kids that I worked with that are still part of my heart. I saw, one of them I saw at the SEPTA charity ball, dancing with MJ on the dance floor, and I literally was crying because he had gotten so big and he was doing such a fantastic job. And I know what you guys do. Not only that, the decisions that we make up here affect my sister. My sister's a paraprofessional. One of my best friends is a paraprofessional. There is absolutely no way that I want to make any kind of decision that's going to be detrimental to them, let alone all of you. Absolutely not. I beg of you, I beg of you, please listen to what's being said. I know some of it, you're not liking what you're hearing, and I understand it. Listen, I'd be right there with you guys. But please, just after this all settles in, just talk to your leadership, try to come to the table. It might hurt a little bit with a 0% increase, but it will, if it's just for a year, let's try to work together and stay unified. There's mumbling, but I don't know what's being said. Well, but Mr. Cittadino asked for just one, so let's, what's being asked for is for you guys to come to the table and discuss. Nothing's been decided. So that's what I just like to say. Please, please come to the table. Nobody likes this. Let's try to stay unified. We should not be fighting each other. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
I just want, guys, I just wanted to clarify the proposal, of course, just like anything else, when you come to two different sides to find an agreement, one side is going to ask, so much, and the other side's going to ask so much, and that's part of a negotiation. You meet somewhere in the middle. I know that Mr. Parton said that the proposal that was originally brought to the table was a 3-year, along with taking the zero plan, again, endorsed by the NJEA. But what we're asking for is 1 year. Old Bridge is a family. It's a family that everybody in this room loves dearly. And I'm going to echo a little bit about what Mrs. DeCaro said. My daughter's a para. I know what she does every day. My daughter's a para. I'm sorry, I don't know who I'm speaking to, but okay. Yeah. When a family is in crisis, every member of that family comes together and tries to do what's best for the family. And again, we're asking for 1 year. See if the legislators can get some of these laws passed in time to help us next year. Next year, we revisit it, because it'll be a 1-year contract, a 1-year deal. That's all we're asking. I do not want to outsource paras. I've never been for that. I don't want to close a school. I don't want to cut programs. I don't want to affect the children. And like Ms. Lent said, we're all up here, we're all volunteers, hours sitting at the table crunching the numbers, hours of not sleeping at night because you're so upset when you come home from a meeting. We're asking for 1 year. Can I take a question? Yeah, when we get to that, okay. All right, did anybody else want to?
Yeah, I don't want to, I echo many of the comments. Old Bridge works best when we work together. There are so many things we accomplish because we work together. And the worst thing about this situation, that nobody out there, nobody up here had anything to do with. It was brought upon us. And what it has done is it has ripped us apart, which it shouldn't. We should be working together, finding a solution. We all have the best interest of our students and our community, and that's why we're all here. So instead of feeling like we're fighting each other, how can we work together? We've spent time trying to get into the legislature, because those are the people, and that's the group that has brought this upon us. Those are the people we need to go to try to solve this. Mrs. DeCaro and I crashed an event where Governor Murphy was at, and got in and tried to talk to them, and that's how we were able to get the meeting with Governor Sweeney and some of those elected representatives. It was taking this effort of how do we get out there and get the word out to the people out in the legislature about Old Bridge and how to prevent this from happening. I called into a talk show just so we can get out to the governor to say, hear our voice. It got us a meeting with the DOE. They unfortunately didn't provide us answers that we wanted, but we keep trying, and that's what we have to do, is keep our voice being heard in Trenton. Thursday, I'll also be going and talking at the Senate budget hearings. That's what we need to do, and we need to be a unified voice, not ripped apart. So I'm also on the negotiations committee. I was on it the last time. We all have the same goals. So how can we work together to make sure that we try not to have cuts, that we don't hurt our kids, don't hurt our programs, don't hurt our staff? Everybody is here to work on the same thing. That's what we need to do.
Anybody else? Your mic's on. Anybody else? So we're going to open this up to the hearing of the residents, And I'm going to ask Mr. Parton to just clarify. Oh, excuse me. Because there are so many people here who I know want to speak, we are going to do one session of hearing of the residents. So this will be pretty much open to any topic. There will not be one at the end of the meeting. And again, I'm asking Mr. Parton to clarify.
So this is on any issue that is a school issue that you can bring up now rather than make anybody wait. As far as the format goes, as I spoke last time when most of us were all in the same room, this is a question by law of public comment. So we're not going to get into a debate back and forth answering questions. We know that a lot of you are going to probably have comments to make, and in order to be fair and give everyone a chance, we will limit it to what the law states, which is receiving your comments, because they are very important to the board. So, Mr. O'Neill.
Tim O'Neill will be a president. First, I want to say that as far as negotiations in Old Bridge, it is completely unprecedented for the board to come out and make these type of statements publicly. I don't believe that it's appropriate. I believe that it is an attempt to pit member against member within our association. I want to explain a few things about the offer that has just been tossed to us, like a ball being thrown into our court, as if that was how simple some of these things were. The board actually can't negotiate with us the elimination of or the creation of positions. So no matter what we could agree to at the negotiations table, it's not within the collective bargaining laws, it's not within their right to put in writing that they won't privatize this year, next year, in the future at all. So whatever we give up, we're accepting nothing but a promise in return. And a promise really isn't good enough for some of the stuff that they're asking us to take. Now, even Mr. Cedino mentioned when he said we could agree to a pay freeze, we could agree to reduce benefits. Now, these are the exact things that we go to negotiations to avoid, okay? So we can agree to them and take them for a year. And if the legislature manages to make change to restore the funding, then we can go back to the table and try to get those things back. You realize that it's just us giving and giving and giving with a promise and a hope that we might be able to get back to where we are right now. And that's not a very good offer to put on the table. Now, one of the major problems is that in order for us to even consider this promise, we have to be able to trust the people who are offering it. And a lot of what I was going to say tonight focuses on the fact that the narrative that has been put out by the district consistently has been at best misleading. We've been told repeatedly tonight and for the past couple of months that there's no way that these cuts could have been seen or prepared for. Well, there are concrete ways that they could have been seen and simple steps that could have been taken to put the district in a better position. The district has known for years that enrollment has been declining. In 2016, Nancy Mongan at the budget meeting cited the fact that 750 students, the enrollment had dropped 750 students in just the past 8 years. Nothing was done then about the situation. Nothing's been done since about the situation. Going back to, I believe, the same budget meeting, Mr. Mara in his presentation presented the fact that the state had told the district that our tax levy was $6 million less than what they deemed to be adequate. Yet years later, we're shocked by the fact that the state has come to them and said, that's it, we're not going to keep giving you this extra money if you're not going to raise your tax levy. The fact of the matter is, if just since that point they had raised the tax levy and used the bank cap that was available to them, they would have $4 million more right now to use to handle this situation. Even if we're just talking about what's going on right now, The fact of the matter is, from last year to this year, the state is giving the district $1.9 million less in state funding. If you look in your packet, you can see that the district is raising the tax levy $2 million. So how is there this giant shortfall? We've heard $3 million, you've heard $7 million. How is there this giant shortfall that they can't afford next year what they could afford this year? They need to make massive cuts, not just close the school, not just privatize to paraprofessionals, but we need pay freezes, we need reduced benefits, we need all of these elements when there's actually slightly more revenue next year than there is this year. None of this adds up. And when the district is pushing narratives that you can't trust, how are you going to trust a promise? How are you going to give up money out of your pocket in order to put faith in them that they're going to do right by us in the long run? And the fact of the matter is, every time we go to negotiations, we hear what we hear tonight. We hear that there's no money, that there's no way that the board can possibly meet our requests at the negotiations table, that if we're going to get anything, we're going to have to give up something else. And the fact of the matter is, we have taken pay freezes over the past couple of years. We have taken reduced benefits. And the district turned around and said, we're doing so well, we don't even need to raise taxes to cap them out. We can let that bank cap expire, okay? We'll just go by and keep coasting on what the state is providing.
Mr. O'Neill.
That's not how it works.
It's
I
not-
am a little
that's not how it
surprised.
works.
I thought the ball was in my court.
If
The
you
ball's
could-
not in my court anymore?
I didn't say that. Please wrap up now, Mr. O'Neill.
What's that?
Please wrap up.
Sure. Fact of the matter is, significant mistakes have been made in the management of this district, not just by the people who are up here right now, but going back quite a few years. If you go to Old Bridge EA Twitter account, you're going to see all the evidence laying out exactly how they should have seen this problem coming, exactly how the narrative that they're pushing right now is false. And the fact of the matter is, we shouldn't have to pay the price for mistakes that were made by people sitting at the big desk. If they're going to try to turn us on each other, we can't allow that to work, okay? They do have a choice. They have money. What they don't have is transparency. And I know that the board members who are up here, I know that they have the best interest of the district and the students at heart. But their job is to oversee the way that the people in charge run the district, to question the choices that they make, to challenge the information that is presented to them, and do the best with the information that they can get. That is what needs to be done. It's what needed to be done for the past 10 years, and it's what needs to be done now. And the solution to this problem is not to take it out on those of us who are actually educating the students, who are actually getting the work done every day that makes this school district what it is. Thank you.
For the past 5 weeks, 165 of your paraprofessionals have been stressed to the max, not knowing whether or not they'll have a job in 3 months. The stress of losing their income and their family's health benefits is frightening, to say the least. Yet we come to work with a smile on our face, ready to give 100% to the students entrusted in our care. And as it should be, most of the students have no idea. The way we see it, we're in a lose-lose situation. If you go for an RFP and find out the cost savings, then we're fired. If there isn't a cost savings, then we feel like a crummy consolation prize, good enough to keep, but not quite what you wanted. This is stripping us of our dignity and the respect we deserve. Just to be clear, suggesting we go to single benefits would mean we would work all month and then have to cut you a check at the end. Even for a year, that is not something we can afford. We do our best every day. The love and dedication we have for our students is obvious. We are a critical part of the success of your special education program. Outsourcing might sound like a good for your bottom line, but beware, because privatization is fool's gold.
Just a little bit about the enrollment that Mr. O'Neill spoke about. The highest year of enrollment that we've had since after the referendum was 2004, when we had 10,008 students in this district. 5 years from now, at the current rate of loss, we will have lost 2,250 of them, 21%. It'll be down to 7,980 students. You ask me how I know. I did the demographics for 15 years, and they've been as accurate as professional ones have been done. The administration and the Board of Ed have known since July 13th, 2018 about the massive state aid cut in Old Bridge. The parents of Cheesequake first heard of the closing at Cheesequake School on January 24th at the Superintendent's Forum. And an article appeared in the Suburban on January 9th in which Mr. Citadino was quoted as saying he did not have enough time between July 2018 and January 2019 to do a strategic plan. 3 board members stated that they did not know this at a Cheesequake School meeting until 2 weeks prior to the January 24th meeting. Question: who is running the district? Who made an informed, intelligent decision on which school to close? What accurate research was done to justify that? Did we get appraisals for all schools? The 2017-2022 district strategic plan that's required by the state only took 5 months to prepare. That's a comprehensive plan, much more detailed, for 5 years. We got that done in 5 months, but we can't do it for one school in 7. The projected savings in closing Cheesequake per the district is $700,000 a year. We can save that $700,000 easily in 2 areas. We have the highest ratio in all of Middlesex County of elementary school counselors, 1 counselor per 281 students. The county average is 571 per student, so are the other 24 districts wrong? Or maybe we are. If we laid off 5 of them, and again, in better times, you can hire people back. You close Cheesequake this year, it's gone forever. Laying off 5 of these 12 will save $500,000 and will be on a par for coverage for the students with the rest of the county. We have 9% more certified teachers than the county average. I looked at the attendance. The middle school class sizes look okay, and the class sizes in the elementary schools look okay. But I can't look at that information and tell you how many. Do we have 7 or 8 kids in an AP class that maybe we can't afford to run? Do we have multiple? Do we have 2 of them at 6? I don't know. But we're running about 60 members higher, professional teachers, than any district in the county that's of our size. For example, South Brunswick, the same enrollment, virtually exactly the same as us, has 100 less teachers. Again, if you laid off 10 of those teachers, talking about Cheesequake, you would save another $850,000. So those 2 alone. I'm asking, based on what we have seen, that we don't need to get anything from anybody. We can save with those 2 items enough money to let Cheesequake get the proper study that it should get before you make a decision to close it. Now, Cheesequake is only one of the schools. There were 3 or 4 other schools that would be candidates to close. But it's the only blue ribbon school we have for the last 2 years. And it's ranked as a Title I school. It is ranked number 2 academically out of the 12 elementary schools we have. That's a remarkable situation. It goes to the staff, to the principal who's leading the school, and to the community. And this district is all about characters, build schools of characters. I want to see the board and the administration show some character to Cheesequake School rather than after getting the award 2 years later, disbanding the school, and where you can't hang it on another school. The award goes with the school. So, board members, I appeal to you as district of character to reflect on the lack of preparation time admitted to by the superintendent, and apparently participation by the Board of Ed in this, or lack of participation by the Board of Education in this decision. At least there's not any record of it that you can find in the agenda notes or anywhere. To extend the school year 1 more year and to do a proper strategic plan. I vote for this. I ask you to show some character, please, and make a good decision.
I just want to do a correction. You always walk away. Mr. Weber? Okay, but how many... Thank you. I'm just correcting something that's important. I'm not answering a question. Mr. O'Neill had stated that it's been known for 10 years we're underfunded. Mr. Weber, how many budgets did you support to fund the district fully in all your years? 0. 0. You voted no on every one of them, and that's why we're in this problem. You voted no. You told us in closed session you couldn't vote publicly yes. You've supported the budget, you said, and you said you couldn't vote publicly yes.
You're good?
It's an executive session. You said it directly to me and Mr. Mara.
Ma'am, you have the floor.
Well, if you're going to come up, Mr. Weber, and read false quotes from newspapers, I did not say there's no strategic plan. You were on the board for the strategic plan. You should have remembered that. I said prior to the budget cuts, they did not let us know and let us plan prior to the cut on state aid.
Okay. I'm going to start.
You got it.
Hi, I'm here as a parent who her son has really flourished as a student, a direct result of the participation of paraprofessionals in this township. And so, you know, his success is a direct result of what has happened over the years from fully vetted and committed paraprofessionals. And they need, I know they've been acknowledged tonight, but they need to be compensated accordingly. So the budget needs to be reevaluated. So are all the board members actually following Citizino's lead as far as kind of the zero compensation and kind of...
Board members are not paid.
Okay.
It's a volunteer
I
position.
wasn't aware of that. But when we think of people responsible for educating our children, we typically think of the teachers only. And so, but there's another like unsung hero in all of this, and that is the paraprofessional. And so, you know, the people that provide support to those with disabilities, English as a second language, students that are at risk, paraprofessionals bring an immeasurable value to the classroom, and students with these disabilities or those who need additional instruction. My son is one of those children. And so the paraprofessionals help teachers save valuable class time by working with these students and helping them keep pace with their peers. And without that added help, I don't necessarily feel that a lot of those students will be really successful. So it's important for a disabled child's development. The paraprofessionals allow students to join the classroom rather than relegating them to a special education class. And so acting as a bridge between these two learning environments, I think is super important, and helps all of the students kind of learn valuable social skills. So many times I feel like a para's duties go unnoticed in a way, but they're helping deal with all kinds of things, from behavioral to educational things. And so, you know, the fact that they're everyday people from our community, I think is a really, really important thing. And I love that about them. There are personal relationships that are developed with the people and their students over time. And I speak from personal experience that I've enjoyed the relationships that I've had with paraprofessionals that have supported my son over the years. So I feel like they're an integral part of a student's learning environment and a necessity in the Old Bridge School District. So my personal opinion is that they should not be privatized, but they should be duly compensated. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm with Glen School Paraprofessionals. Yay. Before I start, I wanted to give a little background information. I'm a special education teacher at Glen School. I was also a district paraprofessional, and I'm also an Old Bridge High School alumni. So I've always wanted to become a teacher in the district. It was something innate in me that I've always wanted to do. That's something that can't be taught, bought, or trained. It's an inside motivation to do the good for the children in our community, and it's the same for all of our district paraprofessionals. So with that being said, I came across a quote, and I just knew I had to speak. Great things are never done by one person. So great things can't be done by a teacher by herself. If you walked into my class, you would never realize who's on a behavior plan, who's using different visual supports, what type of reinforcement each child is on, what individualized learning plan they're using, and so forth. You also wouldn't realize that the child that is sitting at my circle time 3 months ago was the child screaming, biting, kicking, and so on. You also wouldn't realize that the kid that is requesting to play with his peer or requesting from a staff member couldn't talk 3 or 4 months ago. So these are really big strides. You also wouldn't know that all of that growth is from my paraprofessionals. This is where the great things are never done by one person. All of my paraprofessionals I've had the pleasure of working with have constantly bombarded me with 1,000 questions. How can I do this right? What can I do to make this work? What can I read on my own spare time? And that's the key component. They've done this on their spare time. This wasn't during their district hours. They would call me at night. What can we do to make the classroom run smooth? Oh, I do this because I'm always willing to learn. And you wouldn't know that the process was just because they wanted to, not because they had to. Their dedication to these students is why these children are successful. Their passion and drive to help these children in our community is what makes these kids progress, learn, and grow. They are how and why behavior changes occur and new skills are acquired. I can write all the behavior supports, plans, create all these fancy visuals, but I can't implement them alone. I can't create the success and progress of these children by myself. Great things are done by a team, especially a district and her district paraprofessionals, and you can't take that away. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura Roberto, and I am a teacher at Glen, and more importantly, a parent of a Glen tuition student. I have been at Glen for 7 years, and I have worked with amazing paraprofessionals over the years. This year was especially special because my little 3-year-old started school, and she was immediately greeted by every single one of these people standing up. She had a smile on her face from the moment she walked in the door to the moment she left, and the smile has not gone away in these past months. The paraprofessionals at Glen never stop, and they're always taking care of my daughter. They take care of every child in the classroom, regardless if they have special needs or not. For example, they help her take off her jacket and her backpack, help her trace her name, bring her to the bathroom multiple times, help her sit during circle time, assist her with her small group project for the day, help to facilitate play and language during work time, help her open her snack and her drink, help her during lunchtime, and countless other things that we don't realize that our paraprofessionals do. And that's just for my child. So there's 16 children, 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds in a classroom that they are all doing this for on a daily basis. With that smile on their face, they're happy to do it, no questions asked. So I thank God every day for all these paraprofessionals in my daughter's classroom and my building. I know she is well taken care of the entire school day. I peek a little bit because I want to say hi to her. But I know she's taken care of tremendously. So I would like to personally thank Maureen, Donna Kay, Diane, Regina, Sharon, Karen Kay, Nicole, Dale, Lynn, Donna D, Lucy, Amy, Fran, and Marissa. You are all amazing, and my daughter is very lucky to have all of you in her life. In closing, I would like to especially thank Ada and Donna, my paraprofessionals in my classroom. I would not survive any day without both of you. You girls are my rock, my go-to, and most importantly, my friends. You could both read my mind and know exactly what to do in any given situation. I go to work every day knowing that we can handle anything because I have you guys by my side. Work would not be the same without you guys. Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Martin, and I'm a parent. My son James is 10 years old and has been in school in this district since he turned 3 and started preschool. As a bit of background, James has cerebral palsy, a neuromuscular disorder. He also has a visual impairment and epilepsy and is not independently mobile. He does have a very cool wheelchair named Midnight that helps him get him where he needs to go. His wheelchair does not define him by any means, but it is one of the many ways he is not typical to the school environment. As a parent of a child, whether they be neurotypical or if they have special needs, one of the most difficult things to do is releasing your child into the world in any capacity. Once you add all of the components that a child with special needs brings to the table, it becomes almost insurmountable. Sorry. Enter the paraprofessional. This man or woman has been tasked to become me, to advocate for my child as though they are me. James has been so very lucky to have the most amazing paras, Heather, Bernadette, Donna, Lisa, Linda, and Anthony, to name a special few. These individuals become an extension of me for James's hours in school. It has been brought to my attention that some people in Old Bridge feel that paras are babysitters. Aside from being astoundingly ignorant and uninformed remark, it could not be further from the truth. Paraprofessionals assist the teachers in their classroom to properly address IEP goals, therapy goals, life skills goals. Sorry. In our circumstance, our paras assist James in mobility, in getting to and from everything. They assist him in getting in and out, getting up and down. When the possibility of an emergency situation enters my mind, as it does for every parent in today's world, I know that James will be at the top of his paras priority list, as he would be on mine. Can this be said about an underpaid temp that doesn't know my child, a stranger that hasn't taken the time or gotten the proper training to assess a situation that directly impacts my son? Each of our children that have unique needs have unique, dare I say, individualized education plans that are created and followed by law. Allowing that plan to be in some part in the hands of people that do not know our children is irresponsible. Expecting a stranger, perhaps a different one every day, to advocate for my child to become me for 6 hours a day is irresponsible. I recognize that the intention is to hire Old Bridge's wonderful paras that are currently on staff, but why do you think that you would be able to do that? Why would they stay here in district if they were laid off, had benefits cut or diminished, or were this demoralized by our administration? We are all clear that there are budgeting issues plaguing this district. Privatizing paraprofessionals is not the solution. Expecting these talented, dedicated, amazing people to shoulder this financial situation is not the solution. Allowing our children to shoulder the burden of such a decision is not the solution. Please do not solve your budgeting difficulties by forcing our multiply disabled students, all of our students with special needs, to sacrifice their quality of education with a potential for subpar paraprofessionals. Do better by our children. Be better.
Good evening, board members, teachers, paras. My name is Laura Coluccio. I am a mother of 2 kindergarten students at Voorhees and a 2nd grade special needs son at McDivitt. My son Philip is in Miss Paduke's class. Last year, my family and I returned to Old Bridge after a trying experience in our previous district because we heard how great the special ed program was here. And so we're back. Since enrolling in Old Bridge schools, my son, who is autistic, has thrived, not only academically, but socially and emotionally as well. This is due in large part to the hard work of his teacher and paraprofessionals. These people have a strong background and passion for their students of all needs, which is the key to success of the students here in Old Bridge. Privatizing paraprofessionals is a risky proposition which comes at the expense of our children. The paras in our district have a dedication to their students and to their craft that cannot be duplicated by an outside agency. Do you think an outside agency's paras are going to come to a dime to donate fundraisers for the students in our district? I don't think so. They don't have a vested interest in our schools, nor our community, nor our students. Let me give you a little background about why we moved here and why I've decided now to speak out. Before we moved here, Philip hated going to school. He would fight us tooth and nail because he was in a class that did not meet his needs. There were 4 kids in his class. 2 were nonverbal. 1 was a sister of one of the nonverbal students, and then there's my Philip, who did not belong there, and anybody who has ever met him and seen him perform today as a teacher at McDivitt knows he does not belong in a district like that. Once we moved here, it was like I had a brand new student. I cannot express how amazing the transformation Philip has had since he came to Miss Paduke. He is now excited to go to school. He wakes up early to get ready. One night at the beginning of school last year, totally unprompted, which was hard for him at the time, he said to me, "Mommy, I love Mrs. Paduke. I love my new school." I cried, as I am now, as usual. He has grown and become so independent in the last 2 years, it is amazing. Not only do I credit Mrs. Paduke with his success, I also credit Mrs. Trischetti and Mrs. Schemberg, his powers as well. These 2 women work with Philip and the other children in their class tirelessly. They have a love for their students that is unparalleled. You will not get this kind of devotion to our students if you privatize paras. You will lose control of the type of people that are hired, their training and their backgrounds. In the district where I have taught for 17 years, we have tried to privatize substitutes. And I know it's along the same lines. Needless to say, that failed due to unqualified applicants who did not have a command for the native language of the school that they were working on, so that there was no communication between the students and the subs. Things ran amok. They also, sorry, I lost my place. They also did not do proper background checks We've had substitutes in my building alone that were escorted out of the building for placing their hands on children. I have heard other instances where some of them were felons. We need paras who understand the population that they will be working with and have compassion for them and see them for their abilities and not just their disabilities. The paras we have now do this. Mrs. Paduch, Ms. Trichetti, and Ms. Schember all see these students in their class for their abilities and do not let their disabilities be their excuse not to succeed. Why would you let some company who does not have our students' best interest at heart and let you tell you who they're going to put in the schools? They are not caring, they are only caring about the bottom line and the money you will waste on this if you go through with it. I have listened over the last school year how this might happen. I cannot be silent any longer. This will not work out well for Old Bridge. Student, if you go through with this measure, be prepared for a big parent upheaval on the next BOE elections. This is not what is best for our students. I have taught, as I have said, for 17 years. I have seen good paras and I have seen paras who are just there for a paycheck. And that's what these people will be. Just there for a paycheck. Please do not do this. It will fail and our children will suffer. Do not do this.
Hi, before I introduce myself, I'd like to just get this off my chest. It was said that something's got to give. I took great offense to that because when you give up something, something is targeted, and that would be the families of our beautiful children that we are here to support and hopefully protect and continue to protect. So once again, I would choose maybe your statements more wisely because I found that to be very offensive to our families that are here trying to keep us with their children. Hi, my name is Laura Mikowski, and I am a paraprofessional for 7 years in the ABA classroom setting. Peace of mind, that's what I'm going to talk about, peace of mind. I have 3 sons. My oldest is a graduate of 2014. My middle guy, Anthony, is 2017 graduate, and I have one currently in the 9th grade. We talk about being a team, being a family. Let me share this story with you. When my son Daniel, my oldest, was in Salk, I'll never forget this. We went through a very trying time. He was going through a medical condition where I was on call constantly, and this is before I became a para. There were times that I had to go and give him Benadryl because we just didn't know why the hives were coming. He had a rare form of cold urticaria. But I'll never forget the day that his principal, Mr. Cittadino, came to me and gave me peace of mind that my son was going to be safe in a fire drill setting. He came to me and told me, don't worry about this, Mrs. Mikowski. We'll take care of Daniel. When we have the fire drills, we'll make sure that he has his coat. So, sir, I do thank you for that, and I will never forget it. That's what it's about, Old Bridge. It's about having peace of mind. That is what we, paras, give our children. Most importantly, we give the families of our children peace of mind. Peace of mind. That is what Old Bridge is all about. Now, paying it forward. I'm going to tell you my own personal story. For 7 years, I did not take any health care. Why? Because my husband was providing that for our family. After 22 years of service, my husband retired from Department of Homeland Security. Now I can pay it forward to my family with family medical benefits. And I'm going to tell you why it is so important that I not give up my family medical benefits. And I'm not alone. I know many women here who are cancer survivors. I know many women here who have children who are in the departments that we work for and need medication, so they need their family medical benefits. My son, my middle guy, was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, ulcerative colitis. Every 6 weeks, my son is given an infusion. Each infusion, if was at the hospital, thank God he's at home having infusions, was $35,000. Now, because I'm providing the medical benefits for my son, you tell me, what do I do? Something's got to give, right? No. And I'm not alone. And I'm not alone. That cannot be bargained for. I need my family benefits. That cannot be taken away from us. It is detrimental to my son's health. And furthermore, we are a military family. My husband's going to be deployed in May. TRICARE will not cover my son's prescription medication. I don't think my family deserves that. I don't think the families here deserve that loss of peace of mind. So once again, think about our stories. I understand our fate lies within the hands of the negotiations, but I'm sorry, peace of mind, you can't put a price tag on that, not at all. Thank you.
Where are my parents at? All right. Had to change my script a little. Okay. All right, parents, here we go. Come on, guys. These are all the heroes, us parents, doing what we do. Noelle and I started our special education parent advisory group over 3 years ago. Although our children were still in preschool at the time, we saw an opportunity to have parents meet to discuss and identify systemic issues affecting our children. We have had wonderful support from Dr. Tui, Dr. Lombardi, Ms. Doherty. I do feel that Noelle and I have been able to effectively solicit parent input and help propose ideas and solutions that have had a positive impact on our children in these few years. So as soon as we heard about the plan to possibly privatize our paraprofessionals, Noelle and I knew we had to step up and do whatever we could to inform the parents that this could negatively impact our children. In addition to our social media efforts, which I'm sure you've all seen, we created a petition last Thursday to save our paraprofessionals. In 5 days, we have close to 1,900 signatures. Signatures showing support and love for our beloved professionals. It's on change.org. Check it out. In addition to that, I want to let you know, I will be doing my part and testifying in Trenton tomorrow on behalf of myself and all the parents standing here with me. Bottom line, special ed shouldn't be the first group you're going after. Thank you. I see this unfortunate trend going on in our state right now, and I don't like it. And I ask that you set yourself apart and not look to privatize. I am requesting budget transparency and that our children are not used as pawns in a negotiation. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Judy Bonsich, and I am a teacher at Shira School. I'm also a longtime resident of Old Bridge. I stand here tonight to share some comments that have been written, worked on together by the Shira School family, and I'm speaking on all of our behalfs. This is in the form of a letter to our Board of Ed. We understand that in order to close the gap in the budget, many possibilities are being considered. We would like to address one of these, the privatization of the paraprofessionals. We recognize that you have heard many compelling stories and arguments against this action. However, we feel that we would be remiss if we did not speak on behalf of the 17 special education and RTI paras working at Shira School, as well as those serving throughout the Old Bridge community. Shira is the central location for the ABA, which is the Applied Behavioral Analysis Program in the district. This program serves 5 classes of students with autism from kindergarten through 5th grade. It's staffed by 5 teachers and 15 paraprofessionals. In general, elementary school teachers strive to educate the whole child, which includes academics as well as the social and emotional growth of our students. This concept is even more integral in the education of students in our special needs program. In order to reach the goals of each child's individualized plans, every minute of every school day is considered instructional time. Daily living, communication, and socialization goals are worked on during transitions, lunch, recess, and inclusion periods. In addition, specific academic goals are addressed one-to-one or in small groups. During these times, data is continually collected in order to reassess and plan for future goals. It would be impossible for the teachers to meet all of the needs of all of these students without the paraprofessionals providing a good part of this direct instruction. These women are highly trained in ABA practices, data collection procedures, behavioral interventions, and communication strategies. Their skills and training reach beyond their individual classrooms and are felt throughout our school. They promote understanding, assisting all students in fostering friendships and respect for individual differences. Furthermore, during inclusion periods, these women are trusted to know and communicate the needs of their students so that the time spent is beneficial to all. Their true value, however, is in their commitment, love, and unfaltering concern for all of our students. They are faced with an intense level of responsibility, which far outreaches the rate of which they are compensated. While smaller in number, the paraprofessionals that are entrusted with assisting students outside of the ABA program are no less valuable. They too are highly trained and come with a tremendous amount of experience. These women move in and out of multiple classrooms of various grades, providing one-to-one and small group assistance to struggling students. This is no easy task considering the differences in curriculum and developmental needs of students from grade to grade. They too meet their many responsibilities with commitment, love, and unfaltering concern for all of our students, which truly surpasses their level of compensation. A paraprofessional's job goes beyond simply assisting the teacher. They are part of a cohesive teaching team that is constantly growing and changing. The relationships between all of the adults in the school directly affects the quality of instruction for the students. One teacher compared the way that her classroom works to a dance routine. All of the students work together, all of the adults work together, anticipating the needs of one another and the children in their care. This type of in-tune relationship does not happen overnight. It comes through a common mission and is nourished through mutual respect and trust. If the adults in the classroom change frequently, it results in missteps and negatively impacts the students' growth. The paraprofessional team at Shira has a total of 138 years of service. This represents an immense level of commitment, loyalty, and respect for our students and our school. We believe that these women, along with the other paraprofessionals who are members of teams throughout the district, deserve to be treated with the same level of commitment, loyalty, and respect by us. When debating the future of our school district and the fate of its paraprofessionals, please keep this quote by Steve Case in mind. It's stunning to me that what kind of an impact even one person can have if they have the right passion, perspective, and are able to align the interests of a great team. As always, thank you for your time and your consideration and your understanding.
Andrew Lewis, Vice President of the OBEA. I'd like to begin by highlighting the actions of the of the Old Bridge Education Association over the last few months. When the state aid issue came to light, Mr. O'Neill spoke at a Board of Education meeting to say that the OBEA would do everything we could to support the district's efforts to get funding restored. We have offered to help administration and the board with their efforts, but when we weren't called upon to help, we chose to lead instead. We have more than followed through on that promise. We recently delivered over 5,000 petition signatures to Senator Thompson in support of the bill he wrote with Assemblyman Dancer and Clifton to restore funding to the district. We also mail out hundreds of postcards to legislators in other districts to urge them to support the bill. We have turned in over 1,200 petition cards to a Monmouth County group that is fighting to restore funding for all negatively affected districts. And our current effort is another postcard campaign directed at the members of the Senate and Assembly Budget Committees to try and convince them to increase our funding for the 2019-2020 school year. On the same night that Mr. O'Neill made that promise, he followed it by stating flatly that the OBEA would not allow the district's funding problem to be solved at the expense of our members. In the last round of state funding cuts, the paraprofessionals were convinced to sacrifice their family health insurance coverage to save their jobs from privatization. The OBEA then had to negotiate with the board to get the coverage reinstated in subsequent contracts. 4 years ago, we accepted a reduced level of insurance coverage because the board claimed they couldn't afford our coverage anymore. And in the last round of negotiations, we prioritized controlling benefit costs for our members over raises and saved the district money by doing so. We are not unreasonable when it comes to negotiating equitable deals with the district, but we cannot and will not solve the district's problems on the backs of our members. If the board is looking for new ideas for other areas to cut, let us suggest pay-to-play athletics, administrative costs, including workshops and travel expenses covered by the district, replacing increasingly expensive privatized custodians with district employees, and replacing out-of-district professional development presenters with in-house experts. As noted multiple times by Mr. Mara, there will be a $1.4 million increase in the cost of our privatized custodial services. Any savings we once saw through privatization are no longer. The same will happen if you move forward with the privatization of paraprofessionals. I'd like to remind everyone, if you follow the OBA on Twitter, @OldBridgeEA, you'll see proof from prior board meetings and budget meetings of this information. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everybody. If anyone doesn't know me, I'm Dr. Ferry, the principal at Cheesequake Elementary School. Thank you very much. I did not plan to speak today. If I did, I certainly would have prepared some comments, but I just have to say that the group of paraprofessionals that are in this district are phenomenal, truly incredible. And I've had the opportunity to work with amazing ones at Cheesequake and amazing ones throughout this entire district. So thank you for everything that you've done. I'm honored and humbled to have been the principal at Cheesequake for the last 8 years. We have incredible students and amazing staff. We've become the first National Blue Ribbon School in Old Bridge history. And it's just been a tremendous 8 years of which we're very proud. So thank you to all the teachers, families, and staff at Cheesequake. I didn't plan to speak, but in hearing, I'm only one person. I was the former president of the Old Bridge Administrators Association, so I respect the position that the Old Bridge Education Association leadership is in. I respect the position that the superintendent and central administration is in. I respect the position that the Board of Education is in. And we're all part of this district, and we love it. And I've been here, working here for 21 years. I've worked with so many of you at the different levels. Our powers are incredible. We don't want to have to close a school. And the budget crisis with the state cuts is unfair and drastic. And I'm only one person. I'm not the OBA president anymore. But I would certainly take a 0% pay increase if it meant saving the paraprofessionals from privatization and the closure of any school for 1 year, to see if in 1 year the state comes back with increased spending after that year. Health benefits have continually lessened. I pay 35% of health benefits. Many of us in the district do. They're continually lessening, and I understand the position of teachers and paras throughout the district, but the budget crisis is what it is. I didn't plan to speak, but in hearing Central Administration say tonight that they want to take 0%. I'm only one person, and there are a lot of teachers in this room, a lot of paras, a lot of principals. It's an individual decision and a collective decision ultimately with the leadership in each organization. But if I can save the paras, if I could replicate my vote 800 times and take a 0% increase, save incredible paras and save an incredible school, to wait 1 year and see what happens, that's certainly what I would do. Thank you again for everyone at Cheesequake. Thank you, paraprofessionals.
Okay, I'm going to, oh, sorry.
Hello, my name is Frank Russo. My daughter is a student at Glenn School. She was at Glenn School, and she's now at Shepherd. I can attest to everything that's been said about the paras. They are awesome. They have literally made a tremendous difference in the trajectory of my daughter's life. I can tell you that if you all decide to privatize that, I promise you that it will be on like Donkey Kong. Okay? I'm not joking at all. It's that serious. For us parents who have children with special needs, it's that serious. It's that important. Okay? And I want to say that you know I love you. I do, I love you, man. Okay? But all you people we elected to figure this out, and you guys need to figure this out, okay? Because everybody in the town is depending on you to do that, okay? And listen, I'm just a backwoods country carpenter, okay? I don't have the answer, but you guys are supposed to find the answer. And it's not with a slash and burn. And I'm going to say something here that people are probably going to throw things at me, but maybe we need to look at increasing the taxes a little bit. God help me, I don't believe I just said that, but it's true, because, I mean, if we're literally talking about closing facilities and selling property, these are decisions that they're incontrovertible. Once they're done, I relayed the story from my hometown. They sold one of the elementary schools. They had to basically enlarge the other elementary school by twice because they didn't have the other elementary school anymore when enrollment went back up. So I would caution everybody to be careful about, you know, how we proceed here. And I trust you all, I really do. I really do. But the paras are really special people, and they're really, really important. Okay? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, seeing nobody else, I'm going to close this portion of the meeting. Okay, we are moving on to curriculum and professional development. I need oh, didn't I just?
Yeah. No, they're gonna leave.
Okay. I take that back. We're going to take a 5-minute break for anybody that, you know, was here just for that portion of the meeting and would like to leave. Everybody's welcome to stay. my microphone, I need my microphone. Sorry. I need, under curriculum and professional development, I need a motion, please, to move items 1 through 10.
Dunn will make a motion to move curriculum and professional development items 1 through 10, Madam President.
Thank you. Second, please.
Lent will second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
Sulikowski,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn. Yes. Callie.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 10 pass.
Okay, moving on to athletics, just items 1 and 2. May I have a motion, please?
Reed will motion items 1 and 2.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Second?
I will second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Lent,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
Sulikowski,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn. Yes. Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Callie.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 pass.
Under finance, I need a motion to move items 1 through 13.
Madam President, Dunn will move finance items 1 through 13.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Do I have a second?
Lent will second.
Thank you, Ms. Lent. Any discussion?
Yes, Mrs. Callie, just want to make one comment on resolution number 12, the budget adoption. This budget that's being adopted tonight is the budget that's being submitted to the county superintendent for approval for advertising. We still will have the opportunity to modify this budget at the public hearing on May 2nd. Thank you.
Madam
Anybody else?
President? Mr. Parton, just a quick question, or maybe Mr. Mara can answer it. But at this point, nothing has been determining exactly what's in these numbers. It's just a number for advertising at this point, so it's a preliminary budget.
That's
And-
correct.
And the items within this budget can be changed before the finalized vote in May.
Yes, that's right. This is just effectively telling the county superintendent, do you want to run a school district next year? And details can be massaged, changed, clarified between now and your May 2nd final budget hearing, which is when everything is put forth in exact detail.
Thank you, Mr. Parton.
Anybody else?
Madam President, I would like to, please. Please forgive me, I wrote a couple of notes down because I didn't want to forget what I wanted to say. There are 2 very important votes tonight. They are not set in stone. This finance vote only gives Mr. Mara direction to file a balanced budget. It's only numbers. The left side has to meet the right side, has to match the right side. There is a timetable that must be followed. Final details will not be until May. I would be shirking my responsibilities if I restrict him from filing. Please remember, this is just numbers and it's nothing final.
Thank you, Mr. DePrima. Anybody else? Okay, roll call, please.
Reed,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
Sulikowski,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Lent,
Yes.
Callie.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 13 pass.
Mr. Mayor, and I can send it over to the county.
Pardon me, Mr.?
I'm saying now he can send it over to the county
Oh,
and get
yes,
an approval,
yes,
and we can
yes.
move forward.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at non-certificated personnel office, items 1 through 3, and there was the addendum, right? No? No, I'm sorry, an administrative change? Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Dunn will make a motion, non-certificated personnel office, items 1 through 3, Madam President.
Lent will second.
Separating one for discussion.
Okay, separating 1 for discussion. Anybody, discussion on anything else?
Number 1, Yes, we have many, many retirees this evening. I believe there's 11 or 12 of them on the agenda. And we have a total of approximately 307 years that these people put in. Mr. Reed, we can't catch up to them. You and I have about 85 or 90, you know. But 307 years, I want to thank all these people that are retiring this evening. And I guess the list is going to get bigger and bigger as the year goes on. But good luck to Cynthia Berman and Teresa Van. I don't know either of them, but I wish you a lot of luck. And between the two of them, they have approximately 58 and a half years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solakowski.
Yeah, Mrs. Kelly, in resolution number 3, the number 39,734 appears twice. That number should be changed to 33,111.00 in both places. That's the administrative correction. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess we need a roll call on items 2 and 3 because we separated number 1. I'm sorry. Roll call on items 1 through 3.
Singh? Sulikowski?
Yes.
DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Lent?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Callie?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 3 passed.
Non-certificated personnel other, items 1 through, 1 through 8.
Reed moves 1 through 8, non-certificated personnel other.
Second, please.
I second it, and separating number 1 for discussion again.
Any discussion?
Yes, I separated that one for discussion. This is Mr. Reed's wife. She was a para for 19 years. I know her very, very well, and I wish her a lot of luck. And you guys are going to venture off into a new life by the looks of it, okay? If you're listening, Debbie, enjoy your retirement. Thank you for your 19 years of service. You were a heck of a para.
Anybody else? Okay, roll call, please.
But just a second, I'd like to congratulate my wife also for retiring.
Well, you certainly have that right, sir. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Lent?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Singh?
Yes.
Sulikowski?
Yes.
Callie?
I am abstaining on item number 5, otherwise yes.
Resolutions 1 through 8 passed.
Okay, moving on to certificated personnel, and we have more, more retirements.
Also, number 5 is as revised for the addendum.
Right. Okay, so we have items 1 through 16. May I have a motion, please?
Dunn will make a motion to move certificated personnel, items 1 through 16, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Second, please?
Reed will second.
Separating number 1 for discussion and number 16 for discussion and voting purposes.
Okay, let's start with discussion.
Okay, the discussion. In fact, what I'm going to do is just read the whole list off. I have 11 or 12 names here and all the years that they put in. Cynthia Berman, I repeated, this is a repeat. She has 27.5 years. She was from Carpenter. Roseanne Moran, she was the Director of Technology. I worked with her for many years. She has 16 years in. Good luck. Rose Mead, I worked with her at the high school for quite a few years. So did Mr. Reed, I believe. She has 44 years in. She was the Student Activities Coordinator. Luann Coletti, she's from a Memorial. She has 32 years. Nicholas Renzi, he was I remember when he was a school teacher, he moved up to guidance, and he has 41 years. He's from the high school. Kia Carmen, she's from Shepherd ESL. She has 13 years. Anne Marie Tercel, Old Bridge High School ESL. I know her very well, too, 35 years. Cynthia McCullen, Shara Special Ed, 25 years. Keith James, this is Jonas Oak Middle School Graphic Arts. I know him very well, too, 24 years. Deborah Reed, I'm going to repeat it again, 19 years, good friend. And Teresa Van Orden, Memorial, 31 years, a total of 307 and a half years. Thank you for your service.
Madam President, I'd like to say something, please. Regarding the retirements, not to take away from everybody on the list, but I do know two people personally, and once again, if you'll bear with me, I have just a 30-second prepared little thing here. Mrs. Mead, I don't know if you're watching, but Mrs. Mead is affectionately known as Mama Mead. Where to begin? Your name is synonymous with Old Bridge High School. I cannot picture this building without you. I feel bad for the students who have not yet had the pleasure of you being their student activities coordinator. I'm glad my children did. I also had the pleasure of working with you on so many projects during my time as a PTSA officer, but all good things must end. Thank you. Thank you for all you have done for the Old Bridge School District. You will be truly missed. May you enjoy many, many years of a healthy and happy retirement. Mrs. Moran, I'm glad I've gotten to know you during my tenure as a board member. I have told you often that you and your staff are the unsung heroes of our school district. You have set the technology standard that other districts strive for. No one really notices what you do until there is that rare computer or network problem. But like magic, it is seamlessly fixed and all is back to normal. We wouldn't be where we are without you. Thank you too. May you too enjoy many, many years of a healthy and happy retirement.
And you are going to be hard to replace.
Okay, there it is. I just want to echo what Mr. Premier just said. You know, I got to say, Rose Mead has always been very, very helpful, especially during graduation, to make sure everything is proper and perfect with at least our robes for the Board of Education. She's always played a very critical role with the student activities, and she's always been a very big help. So I want to wish her a very joyous retirement. 44 years is a long time to give to this school district, and I'm wishing her the best luck. And Roseanne, my friend over there, I'm going to miss you dearly. You've always been, you know, a huge supporter of mine, you know, through all my little endeavors, whatever it's with the fire department, whatever it's the school board, or just being myself. And you've always been positive influence. And I've known you for now close to 11 years. So I want to sincerely thank you for all your hard work. You were a trailblazer in this district. You were here when technology really exploded, and you worked very well with the Board of Education when we were going through the process of trying to determine what the best handhelds were and the implementation of the park and all those wonderful things that you were a part of, and you were a big success to our success here in the district. So I want to thank you, and I want to make sure that you enjoy your retirement. God bless. Come and visit us. I would really like to see you more often. Congratulations again.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to echo my colleagues in what they've said, the words they've said regarding Rose Mead, Roseanne Moran. Nick Renzi was my son's guidance counselor, so he will certainly be missed. Rose Mead was the student activities coordinator when I was PTSA president in the high school, and she was nothing but helpful. Anything I needed, anything we needed as a PTSA, she was always there to help, and she will be sorely. I cannot believe she's been here 44 years, because what did she start when she was 10? You know, she's just going to be very, very missed. I wish her very well. Roseanne, just being on the technology committee with you, and I've gotten to know you over these past couple of years, and I am just amazed at your knowledge and your commitment to technology and what you've done for this district. It just amazes me. It blows me away every time I'm in that meeting and listening to your enthusiasm and your excitement about what you do. And it emanates through the room to the point where I want to go take technology classes, you know. but I know that you've created a really great team underneath you, and I know that you will be hopefully mentoring, and you will be sorely missed. And thank you for setting the ship in the right motion. Thank you.
Mr. Reed?
Yes, I also would like to echo what my fellow members here have said about Roseanne. Roseanne has done a fantastic job since she came into this district. What she's built for us in technology and the respect that she has from the people that she works under her is fantastic. Roseanne, you're a wonderful person. I wish you the best in retirement. I told you that last week. I wasn't one of those saying, oh, Roseanne, you're going. I was saying, Roseanne, congratulations, you're joining me. I also would like to echo the words that were said about Rose Mead. Rose Mead is here 44 years. We all here at the high school know her. She's well respected and well loved in Old Bridge, and just the way that she works with the students is amazing. Nick Renzi, Nick and I still once in a while exchange things. He borrows my pool pump very often to pump out the water at the end of summer. But Nick is a former graduate of Madison Township High School, and again, a well-respected man. He is in the guidance department, and Nick, I respect you and wish you the best of luck. And the other person that I know on this list is Anna Terso. And Anna, you too, I've known you for many years. Good luck in retirement, and I respect all that you did the years that you were here at the high school. I thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Solakowski?
Yes, I separated number 16 for voting purposes.
Wait. We're not there.
I already said what I wanted to say.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't want to take the time to repeat everything that everybody said, but, my life and the lives of my children have been touched greatly by a lot of these retirees. So I'm just going to say global congratulations and thank you so much for your service. And now I am going to ask for, I have a motion, sorry. Roll call on items 1 through 15.
DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes, and ditto to everyone, so I didn't want to take more time.
Lent?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Singh?
Yes.
Solakowski?
Yes.
Callie?
I am abstaining on item 11G, but otherwise, yes.
Resolutions 1 through 15 pass. On Resolution 16, DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Aren't we supposed to have discussion?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he wanted to separate that out for discussion. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm confused with this one. We never had a substitute elementary principal. I'm here for about 50 years already. Dr. Hoker, would you please clarify this? Thank you.
We've had a substitute elementary principal since 2013. This is a revision to that job description, and we added maintained CPR certification. That's the only change to the job description.
Okay. For voting purposes, I'm probably going to vote no on this, but I'll explain why. Over the last 45 or 50 years being in the district, and I used to teach graphic arts and photography, and many years back in the 80s, we did all the printing for all the elementary principals. And if I had a little time, what I would do is go over to the building, drop off the printing material that they wanted. And many times when I walked in, the principal wasn't there. There was a department head or another principal or somebody from central administration covering that ship, covering that post. So also, I guess during Dr. Criscella's tenure stay when he was here, we lost one of our principals at midstream. I believe it was in April or something like that. And what we did is we took the other principals to fill in the gap. So I just can't see putting in somebody, this is another layer in administration as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to be voting no on this.
Dr. Hooker, I just wanted to clarify, this isn't a new position. This is just a change in the job description?
This is a substitute position that has been in place since 2013. It is an internal teacher who has been hired to cover as an elementary substitute principal. They are certified to be a principal in order to be in this position. The only change is that the job description now includes maintained CPR certification.
Thank you.
Have we ever used the service before?
I didn't hear what you said.
Did we ever use this service, a substitute principal?
We have been using this since 2013.
Well, I would like to take it off the books because I'm voting no on it. Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
I just want to reaffirm that the substitute principal program has been extremely well received, and it's been very, very helpful. Many of our principals who've been elevated to that position went through the program, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Hooker, participated, and it's been a training ground for them to become administrators.
There are several people who have been elementary substitute principals that have become principals, but just for clarification, our supervisory staff covers our buildings when principals are out for a short period of time. We do utilize the supervisors and administrative staff, myself, Mr. Cittadino, other members of our central leadership team cover buildings, but when a principal is out of district for the full day, we use an elementary substitute principal so that the buildings are covered.
I see no pay scale over here attached to this. What is the pay scale for something like this?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
What is the pay scale for a substitute principal, for example? Are they making the same amount as a regular principal?
No, it is an in-district teacher who, for the day, covers as an elementary substitute principal. They receive an additional $105 or $107.
Okay, I think you clarified it. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Lent?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Singh?
Yes.
Solakowski?
No.
Callie?
Yes.
Resolution 16 passes.
Okay, we have nothing under non-certificated personnel transportation, so we'll move on to supplies, equipment, and services. Items 1 through 6. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Kelly and Lisa Lett. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ellis Foster? Lent? Reed? Singh?
Yes.
Solakowski? DeCaro? DePrima? Callie?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 6 pass.
Okay, transportation, items 1 through 7. May I have a motion, please?
Then we'll make a motion to move transportation items 1 through 7, Madam President.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll move it.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Lent?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Singh? Solakowski?
Yes.
DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Callie?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 7 pass.
Okay, moving on to miscellaneous items 1 through 5. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Dunn will second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Lent,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Singh, Sokowski,
Yes.
DeCarro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Callie.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 5 pass.
Board Secretary and Board Business. I need a motion to move item 1.
Dunn will move Board Secretary, Board Business, item number 1, Madam President.
Thank you. Second, please.
DeCarroll will second.
Thank you, Mrs. DeCara. Any discussion?
Separation number 1 for discussion and voting purposes.
I'd like to say something, Mrs. Cowley.
Go ahead.
Just to preface this vote, like I did a few minutes ago, this is just to give Mr. Mara permission to seek the approval to do this if need be. It does not mean we are.
Mr. Mayor, can you just, I'm sorry, Mr. Parton, can you please explain to the public the process that needs to be followed to close a school, and that this action does not necessarily mean that Cheesequake School will be closed?
Yes, Mr. Dunn, there's a sequence of events. This is the first, and this has no final effect whatsoever. This just launches the process. At this point, then, Mr. Cittadino, Dr. Hoker, myself, will provide information to the Executive County Superintendent, Mr. Anderson, who will then approve or disapprove and make recommendations to Commissioner Repillet and the other representatives of the New Jersey Department of Education. They will then approve or disapprove, and if it's approved, send it back to you, at which point there would be a board vote. That's the vote at the end of the sequence that would or would not close the building for school purposes at this point. This is also completely separate from any sale of real property.
Thank you, Mr. Parton.
Mr. Solokowski?
Yes, closing the school. I understand what Mr. Mara said, and I understand what Mr. Parton said, but I'm not going to give this administration the satisfaction of a yes vote to close it down, because it's going to open up a door where they may do it. I'm voting no on this. We can't close any schools, because once we close them, we can't reopen them, as far as I'm concerned, okay? My vote is no on this one. Thank you. Plus, it's a blue ribbon school, the first one that we ever had in this town.
Anybody else?
Yes, I want to say something. I'm totally against closing any school, for the reason that we cannot open another one. And looking at the future, we might need one or two in the near future, so this is totally wrong. I'm going to vote no on this.
Madam President, I know I spoke, I just asked one question, Mr. Mara.
Yes.
Mr. Mara, I just want to clarify. This can still be a no vote, even if everybody says yes, you can do that. I just want to make sure I understand. Mr. Parton?
I heard you, Mr. DePrima. Yes, the answer to your question is yes. If the board were to pass this action 9-0, the county soup were to make the recommendation in favor of closure, and the Department of Education at the state level were to make the recommendation, this board is still starting at 0-0 as far as the final vote to take action on the closure of Cheesequake School. So this is not binding against the board for the future. This is just launching the process.
Thank you, I just wanted to be sure.
Anybody else? Okay, roll call, please.
Reed, Mr. Reed, Singh? Mr. Singh?
No.
Mr. Silikowski?
Definitely not.
DeCaro?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Lent?
Yes.
Callie?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Okay. Any old business? New business? Okay.
I just, okay. I didn't want to do when everybody else was because then originality was just repeating you. But I just want to reach out to say a few words about those I've administered or been the principal for in this district. Terry Van Orden joined me from Voorhees School at Salk School after the 2009 cuts, and what a terrific bundle of positive energy she is. Most of all, she's a Ranger fan, so that always endeared her with me. Miss Reed, all the respect to you, Mr. Reed, always coming to meetings and being principal in a lot of the district events that have taken place. Roseanne Moran, I don't know what more I could say about her. She is like a guiding light and a terrific person with a golden soul. She's a really great person, and I really value her as a mentor and as a friend. Rose Mead, there's no more woman who's into student first education and making sure the students have everything they need to be successful and feel as part of the fabric of this school. Hopefully that has resonated with everyone. Nick, as a counselor and a coach, I've heard so many students talk to me about what he's meant to them as both. Ms. Tirso's classes, you know, you go in there and the students are may not speaking English language first, but they're definitely engaged in the class because they love the energy she brings. And lastly, Keith James, worked with him at Salk School, and I'm a little angry at him. He gets younger every time I see him. I don't know what magic potion he has swallowed, but if you look at him, he does not look like he's ready to retire. I feel like I am, so very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cittadino.
And I do want to say one thing, and it's not to dissuade or anyone. I just want you to think about something, you know, and these decisions that are always made in relative to safety of schools and student safety, and you know, when we introduced the substitute principal program, is right around the time of Sandy Hook Elementary School. I want you to picture the dialogue, picture the cover of the paper the next day, and I know Miss Clutch, she lost her life that day as the principal of the school. But imagine the dialogue around the nation if there was no one there that day, if the district knew that someone was going to be absent and didn't put anybody there on that day. And I know she was the first to die, but I'm sure the rhetoric would have been quite different if the district knew and didn't put anybody in place and just hoped for the best. So that's the reason why it's done. And you know, times have changed, and we have to do different measures to make sure our schools are safe, and we're even more accountable and liable in case something doesn't happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cittadino. I guess I'm looking for a motion to,
Can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry, Ms. Kelly.
I guess.
I'm sorry. I just want to make mention, with everything that has transpired tonight, I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Ferry for getting up and offering to, freeze his pay for the year, for the next year. I kind of feel like that, with everything that went on, it kind of didn't, it got acknowledged, but not so much. But I just wanted to make sure that we heard you, and I, for one, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ferry. Anybody else?
I'm just kidding.
Anybody else? Mr. Singh, your microphone's on. Did you want to say something? Okay, I guess I am looking, we have no executive session tonight. You're welcome. I need a motion to adjourn.
Dunn will make a motion to adjourn, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Second?
Lent will second.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn. All in favor? Thank you.
And good luck to all our new hirees.